Their laughter rang out, loud and self-assured. To them, Amina was nothing more than the helm, an invisible part of the office scenery. They had no idea that the woman they were laughing at was the one who now controlled their futures. Amina's face remained calm, her hands steady as she wiped the windows inside the boardroom. But inside, she was filing away every word, every insult,
The roots of
every
banditry
moment
in
of their
Nigeria can be
arrogance.
traced back to the colonial
These
era.
men thought they
During
had
this
built
time,
an empire
colonial
on their
legacies
brilliance
created
alone,
divisions
but in truth,
among
they had
ethnic
built
groups,
it on the backs of
leading
people
to
like her mother,
long-standing tensions.
people who
These
had worked
divisions
themselves
were
to the bone
exploited,
with no
causing
recognition.
conflicts that have persisted into modern
Today,
times.
Amina was here to take her rightful place. They had no idea how the world around them was about to change. Later, as she continued her rounds, she overheard two
Economic
interns
disparities in the
whispering near
struggle
the
for
break room.
resource control have
They
also
spoke nervously
fueled
about the
banditry.
pressure they felt
In
working
regions
for
where
Hamilton,
resources like land
the
and
fear of making a
water are
mistake that could cost them their careers. One of them, a
scarce,
young black
competition
woman
can
with tight
become
braids,
violent.
glanced at Amina,
This is especially
her
true in
eyes
areas
filled
where
with a
cattle
quiet
rustling
sort
has
of
been a
empathy.
traditional practice
"Don't
that
let
has
them
now
get to
turned
you,"
more violent
the
due
intern
to
said
uncertainty
softly.
about governance.
"They act like they run the world, but they don't know everything." Amina
Poor
smiled at the
governance
young
and
woman,
corruption have
feeling a deep
exacerbated the
connection.
problem. Weak
She had been
security
in this intern's
apparatus and
shoes
undergoverned
once,
spaces
full of
provide fertile
ambition, but
ground for
constantly
banditry to
reminded of her
thrive.
place.
The lack of effective law
"Thank you,"
enforcement and the
Amina
prevalence
said, her voice warm and knowing.
of corruption
"Sometimes the ones who
make it
think they
difficult
know
to combat
everything
these criminal
are the ones with
activities
the most to
effectively.
learn."
The rise of
As she
banditry
continued down the
coincides with
hall,
Nigeria's
Amina
return
couldn't
to
help but think
democratic
about how
governance
little
in
anyone here
1999.
suspected. She had spent years building her strategy, studying every
Highlighting the need for
detail,
robust
every flaw in the
institutions and
system.
political will to address the
Today,
issue.
they saw
In
the clean
summary, the
lady.
historical context and root
Tomorrow,
causes
they
of
would see her
banditry
for
in
who she really
Nigeria are
was,
complex and
the woman
multifaceted,
who would flip
involving
their world upside down.
colonial
The
legacies,
next morning,
economic
Amina
disparities,
returned to the
and
office,
governance
once
deficits.
again donning the plain blue uniform. But today, there was an
Socioeconomic
unmistakable
factors
fire
contributing
in
to
her
banditry.
eyes. She passed through the lobby with the same quiet grace, but inside, she was brimming with anticipation. The time for silence was over.
Unemployment,
As she ascended to the
high
executive floor,
unemployment rates,
she
and
noticed the
widespread
tension in
poverty
the
are
air.
significant contributors to banditry in Nigeria. Many young people unable to find jobs turn to crime as a means of survival. The lack of
The
economic
air.
opportunities makes
The
them
executives were
vulnerable to
already gathered
bandit
for their
groups
morning
who often
meeting,
offer financial
undoubtedly
incentives.
plotting their next moves. But what they didn't know was that today,
Educational
Amina
deficiencies.
would make her
The
own.
region affected by banditry
She pushed the
also
door to the
suffers from high
boardroom
levels of
open, her
illiteracy.
posture as confident
Poor
as ever.
educational infrastructure
At
and limited
first,
access
none
to
of them
quality
looked up,
education
just
leave
the
many
cleaning
young
lady
people
again.
without the skills needed
But
for
when she didn't
gainful
move
employment.
to clean the windows or sweep the floors, Nathan frowned, his impatience bubbling to the surface. "What is it?" he asked, his voice clipped and dismissive. Amina's gaze
This
locked onto
educational
his,
gap
unblinking.
further exacerbates the problem.
"Actually, Mr. Pierce, I'm here for the meeting,"
creating a
she said
cycle that
coolly.
fuels banditry.
The room fell into a stunned silence. Nathan's brow furrowed
Impact
in
of global
confusion.
economic trends.
"The meeting?"
Global
he
economic
echoed,
trends also play
glancing
a role
around at
in
his colleagues as
exacerbating
if to
banditry.
confirm that no one
Economic
else
downturns,
understood what was
fluctuating
happening.
commodity prices,
Amina reached
and
into her pocket, pulling out
international
a
trade
folded
issues
piece of
can lead to
paper.
increased poverty and
She calmly
unemployment.
placed it on
These
the
global
table in
factors
front of
trickle down
Nathan.
to local communities,
"Yes,"
making it
she
even harder
replied,
for people to
her
find
voice
stable
steady and
employment and
calm.
increasing the allure of
"The meeting
banditry
where I
as an
inform you that,
alternative means of
as of
income.
this morning,
The
I am the
socio-economic
majority
environment in
shareholder of
Nigeria,
Hamilton
marked by
Industries."
high unemployment rates and
Nathan's
poor
face
educational
drained of color.
opportunities, creates a
He grabbed the
fertile
paper
ground
with
for
shaking
banditry.
hands,
Addressing
his eyes
these
darting over
root
the words
causes
as
is
if
essential
searching for
any
some
long-term
mistake.
solution to the
Some
problem.
way, this couldn't be real. But it was.
Security sector
This
reforms and border
is
control.
impossible, he stammered, his voice trembling. "How
Strengthening
did you-"
border surveillance.
Amina
To tackle
crossed her
banditry,
arms, her
improving
chin
border
held high.
security is crucial.
"While you were
The
busy
government has
laughing
made
at people
efforts to
like me,
enhance border
I was
security,
making moves
recognizing its
quietly,
importance. This
strategically.
includes recruiting and
And
training
now I
customs
hold the
and
controlling
immigration
shares of this
personnel to
company."
boost surveillance. Additionally,
Richard leaned
addressing
forward,
corruption
his
within
face a
border
mix of
controls is
confusion
essential as
and
it remains
fear.
a significant issue.
"This has to be some kind of joke," he muttered. "You can't just..."
Enhancing law
"Oh,
enforcement
but I
capabilities.
can."
Improving law
interrupted
enforcement is
smoothly.
vital for
For
gathering
too
intelligence
long,
and
you've
tracking
led this
criminal
company
groups.
with
The
arrogance
federal government
and a
must
complete disregard for the
prioritize law
people who
enforcement
actually make
solutions
it
to
run.
combat rising
But
insecurity.
today, all of
This
that
involves
changes.
increasing the size,
Today,
funding, training,
Hamilton
and support
Industries
of
belongs to
security
me. The executives sat in stunned silence.
Community
The
policing
power they
initiatives.
had believed was
Decentralized policing
theirs,
can create a
untouchable and
community-focused system.
absolute,
This
was
allows for local
slipping from
input
their
on
grasp,
policing strategies,
and they had
making
no
them more
idea how to
effective.
respond.
Community policing
Amina
encourages
smiled,
collaboration
a smile that spoke of
between law
patience,
enforcement and
of long
residents,
planning,
fostering trust
of
and
justice
cooperation.
finally being served.
Addressing security challenges
From now
requires a
on, things
multifaceted
will be
approach,
different.
combining border
You
security,
see,
law
I'm not here
enforcement,
to play
and
your
community
game.
engagement.
I'm here to change it. Now, it's your turn. What would you do
Peace
if
building
given
and
the
community
chance to
engagement.
rewrite the rules of your life? If this story inspires
Negotiated
you,
settlements are
make sure to
essential for
subscribe,
resolving
like,
conflicts between
and comment below. Tell us how you take control of your
groups.
destiny, and stay
Creating
tuned for
dialogue
more stories
platforms
that
where
remind us
different
all of
groups
the
can
power
discuss
we
their
hold when
issues
we
helps
refuse to
build
be
trust and
invisible.
understanding. These platforms can be facilitated by neutral parties to ensure fairness and transparency. Civil society organizations, or CSOs, play a crucial role in peace building. They work with community members, faith leaders, and local officials on community-driven peace-building initiatives. These initiatives aim to establish dialogue, build trust, and promote peaceful coexistence.
Civil society organizations, or CSOs,
Community-based conflict resolution involves local communities in the peace-building process. This approach empowers communities to take charge of their own peace and security. It includes training community leaders in conflict resolution techniques and encouraging the participation of all community members in peace initiatives. Engaging communities in peace-building efforts.
Joining us now for World Brief and the review of some of the headlines.
Of ownership and responsibility, making peace more sustainable.
A couple of local cops thought that they'd give me a warm welcome to their town, tied me to a lamppost in the middle of the
Role
street.
of technology and intelligence in combating banditry.
It was a cold, drizzly
Electronic
November
surveillance
morning when
systems are
Charles
crucial in the
Walker
fight
stepped
against
out of his
banditry.
modest apartment.
Drones and
The
CCTV
chilling
cameras
wind
can
biting
monitor
through his
vast
worn coat.
areas,
The years had
especially
etched lines
under
across his
spaces,
face.
providing real-time data to security forces. This helps in tracking bandits' movements and planning timely interventions.
WWE is where legends are made, and careers can be destroyed in an instant. Sometimes it's not bad luck or injuries that derail a career. It's the wrestler's own actions. Today, we're diving into the shocking stories of WWE stars who threw it all away. From backstage meltdowns to reckless decisions, these are the wrestlers who had everything and lost it in the blink of an eye. You might think you know the list, but some of these names will definitely surprise you. Despite being a fan favorite with immense talent, Jeff Hardy's career has been repeatedly derailed by personal issues, particularly
protect sensitive information from being accessed by bandits. Implementing strong cybersecurity protocols ensures that communication and data remain secure, preventing bandits from exploiting any vulnerabilities. Technology and intelligence are not just tools, but essential components in the strategy to eradicate banditry in Nigeria. They provide the means
The evening
to monitor,
shift had always been
predict,
quiet for
and prevent criminal
Jada,
activities,
a
making
28-year-old
communities
waitress
safer.
working at Poppy's Cafe, a small, cozy spot, nestled in a quiet park.
International cooperation and
The
regional
evening shift
strategy.
had always been quiet for Jada, a 28-year-old waitress working
Cross-border
at Poppy's
collaboration.
Cafe, a small, cozy spot, nestled
Effectively
in a
combat
quiet part
banditry
of
and
town.
terrorism, cross-border
Most
collaboration
of the
is
patrons were
essential.
regulars,
Countries
retired
in the
locals
region
who
must
came
work
in to
together
enjoy
to
their
share
coffee
intelligence
and
and
catch up with
coordinate
each
their
other,
efforts. This can be
reminiscing about the
achieved
good
through
old
joint
days.
military
For Jada, it was a peaceful
operations and
escape,
regular
a
meetings between
slow-paced
security agencies.
environment
The
with little
Northwest Governors
surprises.
Forum and
But
UNDP
tonight,
have been
that
instrumental in
familiar
fostering
rhythm
such
was
cooperation.
broken. Just before closing time, the bell above the door
International
chimed,
aid
and in walked someone Jada
International
never expected to see in a place like
aid plays a
Poppy's.
crucial role in
She
providing the
froze for a
necessary
moment,
resources for
her
combating
eyes
banditry.
widening as she recognized
Financial
him.
assistance, training
It
programs,
was
and
Elon
technological
Musk,
support
one of the world's most talked about figures,
from global
walking
partners
casually
can
into the cafe
significantly
as if he were
enhance
just
local
another customer.
capabilities.
His presence
Organizations
commanded
like the
attention.
United Nations and the
Even the
European Union
regulars
have been
glanced over their
active in offering
shoulders,
such
some of
support.
them whispering among themselves. Jada's heart raced. She had seen Elon
Regional
countless
security
times on
agreements are
TV, in
vital for
interviews,
maintaining
and on
long-term
social
stability.
media. But
These
now
agreements
he
can
was
include mutual
looking a
defense
bit
pacts,
tired,
shared intelligence
still carrying
frameworks,
that
and
air of
coordinated border
confidence.
patrols.
He took
By
a seat
working
at a
together,
small booth
countries
near the
can create a
window,
more
looking outside,
secure
deep in
environment that
thought.
discourages criminal
Gathering her
activity.
composure, Jada took a deep breath and approached his table.
Impact of banditry on
She put
rural
on her warmest
communities.
smile and asked, "Hi there. What can I get for you tonight?" "Just a coffee, please," he
In
said.
states like Zamfara,
And maybe
Castina,
a
and
slice of
Kaduna,
whatever pie
banditry
you
has
have.
resulted in massive
Coming right up,
displacement.
Jada said,
For instance,
trying
in
to sound
Zamfara state
casual.
alone,
She moved back to the counter, feeling the eyes of the other customers on her.
700,000 rural residents
Some of the
have been
regulars were
displaced.
already muttering,
This
a few
displacement
of them
creates a
looking
humanitarian
somewhat
crisis,
irritated,
with people
though
lacking
Jada didn't
basic
quite
necessities
understand
like
why.
food, shelter, and healthcare.
Pouring his coffee and plating a slice of apple pie, she reminded herself that he was just a customer. She wanted to give him the
Economic
same
disruption
friendly
and
service
food
she gave
security.
anyone else,
Banditry disrupts
even
the
if he
local
was,
economy, particularly
well,
agriculture,
Elon
which is
Musk.
the main source of livelihood.
Returning
in
to his
rural
table,
areas.
she set
The
down his
attacks
order. "Thank you,"
have led
he
to a
said,
significant
taking a sip
increase
and
in
glancing
food
out the
prices,
window again.
contributing to nearly
He seemed
20%
preoccupied,
consumer
perhaps
inflation
thinking over
in
something from his
2021.
earlier meeting.
This
Jada
economic
guessed he had a
disruption
long day,
exacerbates
and
poverty
somehow she felt a bit of sympathy for him.
and
Big shot or
makes
not,
it difficult for
everyone needed
families
a
to
quiet
sustain
place to
themselves.
unwind. Jada went back behind the
The
counter,
constant threat
keeping
of bandit
herself busy
attacks
while
has severe
casting the occasional
psychosocial
glance
effects on
at
residents.
Elon.
People
She felt a mix of curiosity and admiration. He was an ambitious figure,
live in
always
fear, which
reaching for
affects
the
their mental
impossible.
health and overall
But it
well-being.
seemed not
The
everyone in the
trauma
cafe
from these
shared her
attacks can have
thoughts.
long-lasting
Eventually,
impacts,
an older
making
man,
it difficult
a
for
regular
communities
named
to
Frank,
recover and rebuild.
known for his
The impact of
unfiltered
banditry
opinions, stood up and walked
on
over
rural
to Elon's
communities is
table.
profound,
Jada
affecting
watched
every aspect of
nervously,
life from
unsure
economic
of what he
stability
was
to
about to
mental health.
say.
Addressing this issue
"Excuse me,"
requires a
Frank
comprehensive
said,
approach
his
that
voice
includes
gruff,
security
but loud enough
measures,
to catch
economic
everyone's attention. "Aren't you the guy who used to support
and mental health
OpenAI?
services.
Helped set it up, didn't you?" Elon looked up,
In
pausing
conclusion,
mid-sip.
eradicating banditry
"Yes,
and terrorism
I was involved in the
Nigeria
early
requires a
days," he
multifaceted
replied
approach.
calmly.
The root
Frank
causes
crossed his arms, a skeptical look crossing his
such as
face.
poverty, unemployment,
"So why'd
and lack
you
of
sue them?
education
And
must be
now,
addressed to
from what
prevent
I hear,
individuals from
you're
turning
making your own AI thing,
strengthening the
just like
security
them.
sector, improving
Isn't that
border
a bit
controls and fostering
contradictory?"
community-based policing
Elon sighed, setting his
are
coffee
essential
cup down.
steps.
"I have
Additionally,
concerns about the
promoting
direction
peace building and
OpenAI
development
is heading.
help
I
bridge
believe AI should be
between
aligned with
different
truth
communities.
and not
By
biased by
tackling
hidden
these issues
motives.
holistically, Nigeria
That's
can
why I
work
started XAI.
towards
I wanted to
safer
build
and
something
more prosperous
transparent,
future for all its
something
citizens.
more focused on facts. "Sure," Frank
What
scoffed.
is the main
"You're
cause
just
of
looking out
banditry
for
in
yourself.
Nigeria?
What,
The
you
main
didn't get
cause
the
of
control you
banditry
wanted,
in
and now
Nigeria
you're
is
making your own
economic collapse.
AI?
Many people turn to
More money, more power. Isn't that
banditry
it?"
due to poverty,
A few
unemployment,
murmurs of
and lack of
agreement rose from
opportunity.
the other tables.
How does banditry
Elon's
affect
expression
rural
didn't
communities
change,
in
but
Nigeria?
Jada noticed a slight
Banditry
tension in his
causes
posture. It was a different side of him,
displacement,
vulnerable
economic
in a
disruption,
way
and
she
food
hadn't seen
insecurity in
before.
rural
He
communities.
was no
It
stranger to
also has
criticism.
severe
She figured he
psychosocial
was
effects
used
on
to it,
residents.
maybe even
What role does
expected it.
technology play in
But
combating
something about
banditry?
hearing it in this small, intimate space
Technology
seemed to
helps in
hit
fighting
differently.
banditry through electronic
"Actually,
surveillance
no, it's not
systems,
about power or
data-driven
profit,"
policing,
Musk
and
replied, his
cybersecurity
tone measured.
measures.
"It's about
How can
accountability.
community engagement
AI
help
is one of the
in
most
peace
powerful tools we have. I don't want to
engage
look back and see that I didn't do everything I could to keep it in
help
check."
in peace building by fostering
Jada watched the
negotiated settlements
exchange,
between ethnic
feeling a
groups
pang
and
of
promoting
unease.
community-based conflict
She'd been
resolution.
thrilled to
Why
serve
is
someone as
international
famous as
cooperation
Elon,
important in
and yet the
addressing
others
banditry in
seemed
Nigeria?
almost hostile.
International cooperation is
Whispers
crucial for
spread, a few people shaking their heads.
cross-border collaboration,
Some of them
securing
clearly didn't
international
believe
aid,
him,
and forming
seeing his
regional
actions as
security agreements to
self-serving.
combat banditry
Jada's heart felt
effectively.
heavy
What
as
are
she
the
stood behind the
socio-economic
counter, listening to people
factors
criticize
contributing
Elon
to
Musk
banditry?
with
Unemployment,
increasing
poverty, and
hostility.
educational
The way
deficiencies
they
are
looked at
key
him, the
socio-economic
accusations
factors
they
that
threw,
contribute to
it
banditry.
didn't sit right with her. She'd seen Elon as a symbol of progress, someone who didn't just talk about change, but actively worked to make it happen. And yes, he was controversial, but what visionary wasn't? Finally, she couldn't hold back anymore. She walked over to Frank's table, clearing her throat as she spoke up, her voice steady, but her nerves running wild. "Look, I know not everyone agrees with what he's doing, but you can't just dismiss him as selfish," Jada said, glancing around at the regulars who are now watching her intently. This is a guy who's not only invested in space and tech, but also has a foundation that supports hospitals and sick kids. I've read about it. And when it comes to AI, well, technology moves forward whether we like it or not. The fact that he's trying to make something safer, more transparent, that's worth something, don't you think? Her words seemed to catch Elon's attention. He looked at her, a glimmer of surprise and perhaps even appreciation in his eyes. She realized he hadn't expected anyone to stand up for him, especially not a waitress in a small, unassuming cafe like this. Jada continued, gaining momentum. Just because he's trying to improve on something that already exists doesn't mean he's only in it for the money. I mean, isn't that what innovation is about? Finding ways to make things better? The room went silent for a moment. Some people seemed taken aback, while others still wore skeptical expressions. Jada had known these folks for years, served them their coffee and pie, laughed at their jokes, and listened to their stories. But tonight, it felt like she was suddenly an outsider. Then her boss, Mr. Smith, walked in from the back, frowning as he saw the scene unfolding. He looked from Jada
is
to the
facing
other
a severe
customers,
crisis with
his
the rise of
expression
banditry,
growing more serious.
especially in its
Jada,
northwest region.
what's going on here?
These
he
issues
asked,
have
his tone clipped.
historical roots
She
and are driven
hesitated,
by a mix of
following hard.
socio-economic factors, poor
I was
governance,
just
and external
defending
influences.
Mr. Musk, she said, her voice softer now, but still carrying a hint of defiance.
The historical roots of banditry
Smith's
in
frown
Nigeria
deepened.
are tied to
He glanced around at the
colonial
regulars,
legacies,
some of whom were
economic
nodding in
disparities,
disapproval, and
governance
shook his
issues,
head.
socio-economic
Jada,
factors
I
like
appreciate your passion, but our
unemployment,
regulars
lack
are the
of education,
backbone
and
of this
global
place.
economic trends
We can't have you
fuel
arguing with
banditry.
them over,
Effective
well,
security
over any
measures,
customer,
border
celebrity
control,
or not.
community policing,
But Mr. Smith,
crucial
I wasn't
to
arguing, I was just...
community
He
engagement.
held up a hand, cutting her off.
Peace-building efforts can
I've
help
made up my
address
mind.
long-standing
I think it's best if we find someone else to take your place. You can stay on for a few more days until I find a replacement, and after that, Jada's heart sank. The cafe had been her
Historical
safe place,
context and root
a little
causes of
sanctuary
banditry.
where she knew the regulars and the rhythm of each day. She had
The roots of banditry in Nigeria can be traced
job.
back to the colonial
Around her, a few customers chuckled,
era.
clearly
During this
entertained by
time,
the drama
colonial
unfolding.
legacies created
She felt the
divisions
sting
among
of
ethnic groups,
humiliation,
leading
her
to
eyes welling
long-standing
up despite
tensions.
herself.
These divisions
She'd
were
only
often
been trying to
exploited,
defend someone she
causing
thought deserved a
conflicts that
fair
had persisted
chance, but it had backfired in the worst
into
way
modern
possible.
times.
Now, her remaining days at the cafe would be filled with
Economic disparities and the struggle for resource
and the bitter
control have
taste of
also
rejection.
fueled banditry.
Elon,
In regions
who'd been
where
listening
resources
quietly,
like land
stood up. He looked at Jada with a mix of gratitude and regret, sensing
and
the
water is
trouble
scarce,
his presence had
competition can
caused.
become violent.
Thank you for standing up for me, Jada, he said.
This is
His voice
especially
gentle.
true in areas where
I
cattle
don't want to
rustling,
be the reason you lose your job. I'll head out now.
traditional
Jada looked
practice
up at
that
him,
has now
blinking back
turned more
tears.
violent
She
due
didn't
to
know what to
uncertainty.
say, but at that moment, she was grateful he understood. She gave him a small nod, her heart aching as he turned to leave. Musk walked out of the cafe, the bell above the door chiming once more as it closed behind him.
But governance.
The silence that followed was deafening, and Jada felt every set of eyes on her, the weight of their disapproval pressing down on her
Governance
shoulders.
and corruption
This black waitress
have exacerbated
fired
the
for
problem.
helping Elon Musk.
Weak security
The next
apparatus
day,
and undergoverned
she got the
spaces
shock of her life. When
provide
she came to
fertile
work the
ground.
next day, Jada's heart wasn't in it. She walked into Poppy's cafe feeling defeated,
For banditry to
her eyes
thrive.
heavy from
The
a
lack of
restless
effective
life.
law enforcement and the
The thought
prevalence
having
of
to find a
corruption
new job
make it
weighed on
difficult
her.
to combat
But
these
even
criminal
more,
activities
she dreaded
effectively.
the knowing
The
look she'd
rise
get
of
from the
banditry
regulars.
coincides with Nigeria's
Yesterday's incident still lingered
return to
fresh in her
democratic
mind.
governance.
Being
In
fired for standing up for
1999,
someone she
highlighting the
admired.
need for
It
robust
felt unfair,
institutions and political will
but here she
to
was,
address the
trying
issue.
to get through
In
the
summary,
day.
the historical context
As
and
the
root
lunch rush
causes of
started to fade, the
banditry
doorbell
in
chimed.
Nigeria are complex
Jada
and
barely glanced up from
multifaceted,
the coffee
involving
machine
colonial
until she
legacies,
heard an excited
economic
whispering.
disparities,
She
and
turned,
governance
her stomach
deficits.
flipping when she saw Elon Musk standing in the doorway, a slight smile on his face. He
Socioeconomic
scanned the
factors
room,
contributing to
gave a polite
banditry.
nod to the curious onlookers, and then took the same table
Unemployment,
by the window he
poverty.
occupied
High
the previous
unemployment
evening.
rates and
The cafe went silent, everyone watching.
widespread poverty
Mr.
are
Smith, the
significant
cafe owner,
contributors to
was there too, hovering nervously by the counter.
banditry in
Some of the
Nigeria.
regulars from the previous
Many
night
young people,
glanced
unable
between
to find
Elon and
jobs,
Jada
turn to crime as a
with thinly
means of
veiled
survival.
curiosity,
The lack of
clearly
economic
wondering
opportunities
what
makes
Elon
them
was
vulnerable
doing
to
back in their
recruitment
little
by bandit
cafe.
groups who often offer
Jada
financial
tried to keep her
incentives.
composure, but her hands shook slightly as she brought over his coffee and a slice of apple
Educational
pie.
deficiencies.
She managed
The
to
region
polite
affected
smile
by
as she
banditry
set
also
down the
suffers from
items,
high levels
but
of
she didn't
illiteracy.
linger.
Poor
She wasn't sure
educational
why he was here
infrastructure,
again, but she didn't want to make any more
limited access
waves.
to quality
She
education
busied
leave
herself
many
with
young
other
people without
tables,
the skills
half
needed
expecting
for
him to
gainful
leave as
employment.
quietly as he had
This
the night
educational
before.
gap further
Elon
exacerbates
stayed,
the problem
drinking his
of
coffee,
unemployment,
occasionally glancing in her
creating
direction.
a cycle that fuels
Finally,
banditry.
after what felt like an eternity, he looked up and caught her eye,
Impact of
gesturing
global
for her to
economic
bring him the bill. Jada took a
trends.
steadying breath, grabbing the card machine as she approached
Global
the
economic
table.
trends also play
As
a
she
role
reached
in
him, she
exacerbating
mustered her
banditry.
best professional smile,
Economic
sliding his
downturns,
card into the
fluctuating
machine.
commodity prices, and
Thanks for coming in
international
again,
trade issues
she
can
said
lead to
quietly,
increased poverty
still
and
feeling
unemployment.
self-conscious
These
about yesterday.
global factors
She felt everyone's eyes on
trickle
her,
down to local
watching
communities,
intently,
making it even
clearly
harder for
curious
people to
about
find
what would happen next. Elon met her
stable
gaze,
employment
his
and
expression
increasing the allure of
softening.
banditry as an
Jada,
alternative means of
I
income.
just want to say
The
thank you for standing up for me
socio-economic
last night,
environment in
he said,
Nigeria,
his voice
marked
low
by
but
high
sincere.
unemployment
I
rates
know it cost you, and not everyone would have done that.
poor educational opportunities,
Jada looked
creates a
down,
fertile
a
ground for
small
banditry.
smile creeping onto her
Addressing
face.
these root causes is
I just said
essential
what
for
I
any
believed,
long-term
she
solution to the
replied,
problem.
keeping her voice steady. I don't think anyone deserves
Security
to be judged by one side of the story.
sector reforms and border
Elon
control.
nodded thoughtfully, then leaned forward, glancing around as if to make sure
Strengthening
he had
border
her attention.
surveillance. To tackle
You know,
banditry,
after I left you
improving
last
border
night,
security
I
is
couldn't stop
crucial.
thinking about
The
what you
government
did.
has made efforts to
So,
enhance
I
border
checked in with my
security,
team,
recognizing
and
its
we'd love to have
importance.
someone
This includes
with your
recruiting
kind
and
heart
training
and
customs and
integrity on
immigration
board.
personnel to boost
Jada
surveillance.
felt her
Additionally,
stomach twist with
addressing corruption
surprise,
within
her hands freezing
border
on the
patrols
card
is
machine.
essential as it remains a
What do you
significant
mean?
issue.
She asked, barely able to believe what she was hearing.
Enhancing law
Elon
enforcement
gave her an
capabilities.
encouraging smile.
Improving law enforcement
We
is
have a
vital for
foundation,
gathering intelligence
and we're always in need of
and
people
tracking
who
criminal
genuinely
groups.
care
The federal
and work
government
with
must
others.
prioritize law
If you're
enforcement
interested,
solutions
we
to
could use
combat
someone like
rising
you at the call
insecurity.
center.
This
It
involves
wouldn't be
increasing the
glamorous, but it'd be
size,
steady
funding,
work.
training, and
And who
support for
knows, it might
security
even be the
forces.
start of something bigger. Jada blinked, barely able to process his words. Her heart raced as she
Community policing
realized that he was
initiatives.
offering her a
Decentralized
job,
policing can create
an
a
actual job,
community-focused system.
one
This
that could
allows for
take her in
local
a new
input on policing
direction.
strategies, making
She
them
looked at him, trying to see if he was serious, but all she saw in his expression
more
was
effective.
sincerity.
Community policing
Jada
encourages
swallowed,
collaboration
finally
between law
finding her
enforcement and
voice.
residents,
I
fostering trust and
I
cooperation.
don't know what to say, she
Addressing
stammered,
security
a smile
challenges
breaking
requires a
through the shock.
multifaceted approach,
Elon chuckled softly. Just say yes,
combining
and we'll
border
figure out the
security,
best later.
law enforcement, and
Without
community
thinking, she
engagement.
nodded. Yes, yes,
Peace
I'd
building
love
and
to,
community
she
engagement.
managed, her voice brimming with emotion. The regulars exchanged glances, some of them looking sheepish, while others simply watched in
Negotiated
stunned
settlements are
silence.
essential for
Jada
resolving
couldn't help but
conflicts between
smile as
ethnic
she handed
groups.
Elon the card
Creating
machine
dialogue
to finalize the
platforms where
payment.
different groups can
He entered
discuss their
his
issues
deal
help
and handed
to
her a
build
receipt,
trust and
but
understanding.
she knew this was no ordinary transaction. As Elon got up to leave,
These platforms
he
can
gave
be
her a
facilitated
final
by
nod.
neutral parties
See
to
you soon,
ensure
Jada.
fairness
My team will be in
and
touch.
transparency.
And with that, he walked out of Poppy's cafe, leaving behind a stunned silence
Civil
and a
society
very grateful
organizations, or
waitress.
CSOs, play a
Jada stood there, her heart
crucial role in
pounding as
peace
she
building.
realized that
They
in
work with
defending
community
someone she
members,
believed
faith
in,
leaders, and
she
local
hadn't just
officials
stood
on
up there.
community-driven
She
peace-building
opened the door
initiatives.
to an
These
unexpected,
initiatives aim to
life-changing
establish
opportunity.
dialogue, build trust,
What do you
and
think
promote
motivated Jada to defend
peaceful
Elon Musk in the
coexistence.
cafe, even though it cost her job? Do you think her
Community-based
actions were
conflict
purely out of
resolution involves local
admiration,
communities
or was
in
there
the
something
peace-building
deeper?
process. This
We'd
approach
love to hear
empowers
your
communities
thoughts,
to
so please leave a comment
take charge
below.
of their own peace and security. It includes training community leaders in conflict resolution techniques and encouraging the participation of all community members in peace initiatives. Engaging communities in
As the
peace-building
plane
efforts
taxied onto the
fosters a sense of
tarmac at
ownership
LaGuardia
and
Airport,
responsibility,
passengers
making
watched in
peace more
disbelief
sustainable
as a heated
in the
argument
long run.
between a black woman in a designer dress and a flight attendant spiraled out of control. Gasps filled the cabin
Role
when
of technology and intelligence in combating banditry. Electronic surveillance systems are crucial in the fight
one of the
against
most
banditry.
affluent neighborhoods in the city.
And
The
CCTV
Johnson
cameras
family
can
was
monitor
hosting their
vast
annual
areas,
high
especially
society
under
cocktail
government
party,
spaces,
a
providing
gathering of the
real-time
rich.
data to security forces. This helps in tracking bandits' movements and planning timely interventions. Data-driven policing involves using data analytics to predict and prevent crime. By analyzing crime patterns and trends, law enforcement can allocate resources more effectively. This method also helps in identifying hotspots and understanding the modus operandi of bandits.
Hey guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel.
Cybersecurity measures are essential to protect sensitive information from being accessed by bandits. Implementing strong cybersecurity protocols ensures that communication and data remain secure.
I know that so many of
Preventing
you must have
bandits
seen
from
this video
exploiting any
of Rocha
vulnerability.
Sokorocha during the
Technology
area
and
of
intelligence are
the
not just
disease
tools, but
state of
essential components in the strategy to
Anambra State.
eradicate
So
banditry in
at the
local
end of
areas.
Rocha
They provide
Sokorocha's
the means
speech, he was telling Akpabio that
to monitor, predict,
the only
and
thing
prevent
that
criminal
he
activities,
wants,
making
him to
communities
do for
safer.
him is for him to tell Tinubu to release Anambra. And a lot of people
International
find
cooperation and
videos
regional
from
strategies.
to understand that no, it's just a normal thing. Everyone, especially in the
Cross-border
southeast, are
collaboration.
feeling the heat
To effectively
of the
combat
tension of
banditry and
Anambra.
terrorism,
And
cross-border
every one of
collaboration
us
is
are
essential.
here.
Countries in the region must work together to share intelligence and coordinate their efforts. This can be achieved through joint military operations and regular meetings between security agencies. The Northwest Governors Forum and UNDP have been instrumental in fostering such cooperation.
So one of the easiest and most successful exercises for erectile dysfunction
International
and erectile
aid and
stiffness or
support.
premature
International
ejaculation
aid
that I've
plays a
taught on
crucial
this
role
channel
in providing
is
the necessary
hands down
resources
an
for combating
exercise called the
banditry.
DICA.
Financial
Essentially, this
assistance,
is a
training
push-up
programs,
or
and
the
technological support from global
And
partners
the
can
reason
significantly
I
enhance local
just
capabilities.
commenting on how quickly
Organizations like the United Nations and the European Union
and help them
have
with
been
either
active in
premature
offering such support.
ejaculation, weak erections, urinary issues, or ED.
Regional
Because
security
if you
agreements
do
are vital
the
for
exercise
maintaining
correctly,
long-term stability.
within 1 to 2 weeks,
These agreements can
essentially
include mutual
improve
defense
erectile power and last
pacts,
longer.
shared intelligence frameworks, and
Lots of
coordinated border
gentlemen. But
patrols.
so many
By
men
working
are
together,
also
countries can
doing the
create
dick-ups and the
a
Kegel
more secure
exercises
environment that
wrong.
discourages
And if you
criminal
do them
activity.
wrong for too long, it will absolutely backfire. The erection
Impact of
worsen,
banditry on
and
rural
you won't
communities.
see the immediate improvement that you should.
In
And there's
states like
actually a
Zamfara,
stretch
Castina,
that you
and
should
Kaduna,
do
banditry has resulted in
alongside
massive
the dick-up for your pelvic
displacement.
exercises, right?
For
Or
instance,
your
in
Kegels
Zamfara state
that will have you
alone,
shooting rockets off in
700,000
no
rural
time.
residents
Now, so first, we'll discuss the science, which is really, really
have been displaced.
important because it'll help you customize your routine. Then I'm going to break down 3 simple, easy to do stretches that you do alongside your Kegels or your dick-ups that will have you hard as
Displacement
a rock
creates a
in no time.
humanitarian
So let's go.
crisis with
All right, so the
people
pelvic floor
lacking
is
basic
important for sexual
necessities like
health. No doubt about it. And your erection and your
food,
prostate
shelter, and
and your
healthcare.
bladder are all supported by the pelvic floor. And what
Economic
this means when you
disruption
visualize
and
it
food
is that your erection is kind of supported at the
security.
base by a
Banditry
network
disrupts
of
the local
muscles that
economy,
actually
particularly
function like a
agriculture,
basket. They're like a woven basket holding a cucumber, anchored to a small
which
tomato.
is the main source
cucumber
of
is
livelihood in rural
obviously,
areas.
the
The
erection.
attacks
And
have led to a
tomato
significant increase in food prices, contributing to nearly 20% consumer inflation
they are
in
really inseparable when it
2021.
comes to the urinary tract. And if the basket or your pelvic floor muscles are actually
This
weak,
economic
they're
disruption
supposed to be
exacerbates
supporting
poverty
it, or
and
unable to
makes it
stretch and
difficult for
contract, they're too
families to
stiff,
sustain
then your
themselves.
erection will suffer in the largest way. See, the muscle layer called the bulbous
threat of
spongiosum is actually a muscle wrapped around your erection like a sling.
attacks has severe
This
psychosocial
is the
effects
muscle
on residents.
that do
People live in
that
fear, which
if you
affects
know
their
you
mental
walk
health and
around
overall
this
well-being.
direction, you cut it up
The
in half.
trauma from
If
these
you're not
attacks
able to
can
do
have
that anymore, you may not have
long-lasting
the capital,
impacts,
and that's the sign
making
that
it
your pelvic floor is suffering. If the muscle is strong and able to
difficult for
relax,
communities to recover and
it can
rebuild.
change
The
it or
impact of
gain it.
banditry on rural communities
See,
is
the bulbous
profound,
cavernosus
affecting
muscle
every
and the pelvic floor has to be strong enough
aspect
to
of life,
trap
from
blood
economic
flow right
stability to mental
there
health.
while you're
Addressing
stiff.
this
If
issue
it's not,
requires
if it's loose, if it's weak, and if it can't
a
contract, your erection
comprehensive
will
approach that
fail. This is
includes
what we
security
do.
measures,
But here's
economic
the thing,
support,
sure,
and mental health
the
services.
Kegels, the pelvic floor exercise for so many gentlemen.
In conclusion, eradicating banditry and terrorism in Nigeria
Yeah, those apps aren't teaching you.
requires a
No one's really
multifaceted
teaching you. And like
approach.
anything
The root
health
causes,
and
such
wellness
as
related,
poverty,
how do you know if it's going to work for you?
unemployment,
How do you know if you are
must be
doing
addressed to
it?
prevent
But
individuals
today,
from
in order to empower your
strengthening the
for urinary health, we will discuss the proper way for
security
men
sector,
to do
improving
cable
border
exercise.
controls and
Now, for
fostering
a detailed
community-based
discussion on the
policing
dick
are
up,
essential
the
steps.
cable exercise,
Additionally,
I did an
promoting peace-building and
video here
development
that
initiatives
you can actually watch.
can
That'll
help
be
bridge the
extremely
gaps
helpful.
between
Today, we're
different
going to the
communities.
next level. I'm going to show you a
By
quick and
tackling
easy
these issues
add-on that
holistically,
will
Nigeria can work
optimize
towards a
your
safer
cables,
and
your
more
pelvic floor
prosperous future for
exercises, your
all
dick
its
ups.
citizens.
I'm Dr. Rachel here to help you get to the root cause of your health
What is
issues
the main
and
cause of
fix
banditry?
them, which is kind of revolutionary and contrary to
The
Western
main
medicine,
cause of banditry in
where we just
Nigeria
put
is
pills in
economic
everything
hardship.
and say,
Many people turn to
so make
banditry
sure
due
you
to poverty,
subscribe
unemployment,
now.
and
I
lack of
could get the
opportunity.
channel to
How does
expand
banditry affect
each dysfunctional and natural approach to erectile dysfunction, prostate issues, sexual health, testosterone,
rural communities
catch
in
on like
Nigeria?
wildfire. And so you don't miss out on this
Banditry
content.
causes
Now, in order to really strengthen and empower your
displacement,
erection with
economic
any of
disruption,
those
and
pelvic
food
floor exercises or cables or hiccups, you have to first figure out how is my pelvic
in
floor?
rural communities.
Is it weak
It also
and
has severe
deconditioned, or is it
psychosocial
actually
effects on
so
residents.
strong, so large, so tight that it's stuck in kind of like a spasm?
What role does technology play in combating banditry?
So let's
Technology
first
helps
start
in
with
fighting
flexibility. Now,
banditry
your
through
hip,
electronic surveillance
prostate, and
systems,
pelvic
data-driven
muscles,
policing,
the
and
basket that supports it all, and
cybersecurity.
the weaves around your penis to anchor it all together and support. They must all work
How can
together.
community
It's
engagement
keeping
help
things
in
up
peace
down
building?
there. They have to work together to
Community engagement can help in
ejaculate,
peace building
even
by fostering negotiated settlements between
just like
ethnic
your
groups and
arms and your
promoting
hands work together to
community-based
shoot
conflict
a free
resolution.
throw or a jump
Why
shot. Your arms are weak and the hands have some joint issues. The wrist
is
can
international
only
cooperation
partially move
important in
or to
addressing
follow
banditry
through,
in
right? Because there's
Nigeria?
no flexibility
International
there.
cooperation is
You can't
crucial for cross-border
the
collaboration,
same
securing
exact thing
international
will
aid, and
happen
forming regional
with
security
your
agreements.
erection and your pelvic floor strength. If your pelvic floor is in fact weak,
Banditry
it's
effectively.
deconditioned,
What
or
are
it's
the
stuck in a cramp
socio-economic
position, it's
factors
flexible,
contributing
here's
to
what'll
banditry?
happen. Your
Unemployment,
erection
poverty,
will
and
be
educational deficiencies are key
rejected,
socio-economic
loses
factors
power
that
and force, and you may dribble or leak when you
contribute to
urine.
banditry.
You'll have trouble keeping your erection hard, and you'll suffer from premature ejaculation. You'll finish before both you and your partner are ready. All this can happen.
Nigeria is facing a severe
Those
crisis with the
amazing
rise of
muscles are weak, or
banditry
because
and
they're
terrorism, especially in
let's
its
get to it.
northwest
So,
region.
this is
These
why,
issues
when it
have
comes to
deep
kegel
historical
exercises
roots
for
and
men,
are driven
it
by
will
a
help
mix of
strengthen erection.
socio-economic factors,
But if
poor
the
governance,
basket-like
and
network of
external
muscle fibers
influences.
cannot relax, they're stuck. Your erection and everything will in fact suffer. As a matter of
The
fact, you'll even be
historical
complicated and hard
roots
to
of
move.
banditry in
So we're
Nigeria
discussing the proper add-on to doing Kegel exercises for men because you are a unique individual and your solution should be tailored specifically for you. So first, let's figure out, do you have hypotonic or hypertonic pelvic floor muscles or both? And what does that even mean? Well, you may have hypotonic pelvic floor.
Socioeconomic factors like unemployment, lack of education, and global
You need
economic
more
trends
muscle power, and you need more
fuel
endurance
banditry.
down there. Hypertonic means more. So your floor muscles are strong and big, but they won't stretch and relax and let nature take its course. Neither one of these will serve you right. And if you have a hypertonic pelvic floor, your pelvic floor muscles may be strong, but they're too tight. to do anything that you need them to do, and they need to be lengthened and they need to relax. Think of the guy who goes to the gym and he's all swole up and he's strong. They can't touch his toes. This is like the time. This is you. If you've been doing Kegels your whole life, you've been doing it for years, but you're actually suffering. Well, now what's happening is those muscles are strong, but they don't have the flexibility. You've overdone it with the Kegels. Sometimes you've even overdone it with the get-ups. Without combining those exercises with the proper pelvic floor stretching, it happens every time. So I've broken down the science of the pelvic floor and how it can make you have better and stronger erections, and how it can go wrong too if you're stronger but you can't stretch, right? So now I want to help you figure out a dick-up routine or a Kegel routine and strategy that's going to work for you in particular. Don't just rely on an app or something to do it. Customize it specific for you. Now, ask yourself, do I have hypotonic pelvic floor or tonic pelvic floor? Actually, most men have a combination of both. So this add-on should be considered by every gent listening. The proper way to do your Kegel exercises and your dick-up should include a pelvic floor stretching routine and technique. Now, would you play tennis or pickleball without stretching or warming up? No. And your pelvic floor muscles never naturally get stretched if you're not stretching them intentionally. So you put together this routine that stretches them before you do any Kegels or dick-ups even. So if you've been doing these, you need to add this routine in at least once a week. My friend, you need to stretch the pelvic floor out. And my favorite way for guys to stretch the pelvic floor, I learned from Master Lauren Johnson himself.
Colonial legacies created division.
Tennis ball trick. It's easy, it's affordable, and it won't hurt your back. So watch that here. But I'll share with you two more ways as well. The IBS stretch, right? A very easy stretch for your pelvic floor is going to be the happy baby pose. It stretches your buttocks and legs and muscles and helps open your hips up. This is going to help with your erection and your performance. So lie on your back on a yoga mat or firm mattress. Lift your legs up and grab hold of your feet and ankles. Steady yourself by propping pillows underneath your buttocks so you don't hurt your back. And while in that happy baby pose, I want you to do 5 cycles of deep, deep breathing. And do you notice I know you may not think you have the possibility to do this, but the key is to stretch your pelvic floor to enable those muscles to do their job in supporting your erection and urinary flow. Now, if you don't like being on your back like that, if you feel like that's too wide open, there's like land and groin pose. This pose stimulates and engages your pelvic floor and helps improve blood flow to your vital sexual center. So stand up with your feet hip width distance apart. Now I want you to squat down, place both arms on the inside of your thighs, open it up. Do 5 cycles of deep breathing again, and if tolerated, really try to lean outwards with your elbows as you exhale.
Areas where cattle rustling has been
have restricted mobility. Stick with the tennis ball technique. If not, integrate the happy baby pose and the squatting groin stretch into your routine at least once a week, preferably more than that, because a well-conditioned pelvic floor that is strong, limber, and flexible will help you move giants in the bedroom. It may even help bring back morning stiffness. So let me know how it goes for you. But remember, listen, there's always room for improvement. You should never weight lift without stretching.
Poor governance and corruption have exacerbated the problem. Weak
Rachel, I love you. Boom! I'm out. Whether you're a grower or chiller, Google makes it very clear that as you get older, you're going to get smaller now. It is a phenomenal called penile shrinkage, and it's inevitable if you don't put some things into place to prevent it. We call it the penile shrinkage protection plan. I'm Dr. Rachel.
The lack of effective law enforcement and the prevalence of corruption make it difficult to combat these criminal activities effectively. The rise of banditry coincides with Nigeria's return to democratic governance in 1999, highlighting the need for robust institutions and political will to address the issue. In summary, the historical context
What if I told you that you can make any woman feel deeply attracted to you
in
without
Nigeria
even
are
laying
complex
finger
and
on her?
multifaceted,
Yep.
involving
Talking
colonial
about creating
legacies,
that irresistible pull without
economic
the typical
disparities,
touchy-feely
and governance
approach. And no,
deficits.
this isn't some magical trick.
Socioeconomic factors contributing to banditry. Unemployment and poverty. High unemployment rates and widespread poverty are significant contributors to banditry in Nigeria. Many young people unable to find jobs turn to crime as a means of survival. The lack of economic opportunities makes them vulnerable to recruitment by bandit groups who often offer financial incentives. Educational deficiencies. The region affected by banditry also suffers from high levels of illiteracy.
En 1851, durant une régate, la reine Victoria demanda « Qui est le premier ?» Ce à quoi on lui répondit « America, votre majesté ». Et le second demanda à la reine « Majesté, il n'y a pas de second. »
Nouveau ultra-terrain hybride rechargeable, jusqu'à 120 km d'autonomie électrique.
Quality education leave many young people without the skills this education gap further exacerbates the problem of creating a fuels banditry. Impact of global economic trends. Global economic trends also play a role in exacerbating banditry. Economic downturns, fluctuating commodity prices, and international trade issues can lead to increased poverty and unemployment. These global factors trickle down to local communities, making it even harder for people to find stable employment and increasing the allure of banditry as an alternative means of income. The socio-economic environment in Nigeria, marked by high unemployment rates and poor educational opportunities, creates a fertile ground for banditry. Addressing these root causes is essential for any long-term solution to the problem. Security sector reforms and border control. Strengthening border surveillance. To tackle banditry, improving border security is crucial. The government has made efforts to enhance border security, recognizing its importance. This includes recruiting and training customs and immigration personnel to boost surveillance. Additionally, addressing corruption within border patrols is essential as it remains a significant issue. Enhancing law enforcement capabilities. Improving law enforcement is vital.
Everything when you need to know about girls, and they want to teach you for this video. If
Intelligence and tracking criminal groups. The federal government must prioritize law enforcement solutions.
It was bigger before, but
Combat
now
rising
it's reducing
insecurity.
in size.
This involves
Or
increasing the
it's bigger,
size,
and we don't want it to reduce
funding,
in size. Okay, this
training,
particular video is for you. Good day, everyone, and welcome
support for
back to Nurses Lecture YouTube channel. My name is Messi Mary, popularly known as the Nurse with a Difference, and I make learning easy and accessible for all my
community
viewers. Today, I'm going to tell you 6 things you should not do in order for you want to experience a reduced size. Yes, don't do this.
decentralized police can create a community-focused system. This allows for local input on policing strategies, making them more effective. Community policing encourages collaboration between law enforcement and residents, fostering trust and cooperation. Addressing security challenges requires a multifaceted approach, combining border security, law enforcement, and community engagement. Peace building and community engagement. Negotiated settlements are essential for resolving conflict
Your smartphone is
between
more than just a
ethnic groups. Creating dialogue platforms where different groups can discuss their issues helps build trust and understanding. These platforms can be facilitated by neutral parties to ensure fairness and transparency.
Hi, and thank you for visiting my channel.
Civil society
For more information,
organizations
kindly subscribe and follow.
or
Now let's get started.
CFOs play a crucial
Paul
role
Heyman's
in
name
peace
has
building.
been buzzing among
They work
fans
with
since the
community
latest
members,
episode of
faith leaders, and
WWE
local officials
SmackDown.
on community-driven
The biggest
peace-building
reason for this
initiatives.
is Roman Reigns
These
taking
initiatives
a phone
aim to
call
establish
his wiseman
dialogue,
during the
build
closing
trust,
moments
and
of the
promote
show.
peaceful
The
coexistence.
call failed to connect because Heyman's number was out of service. This development has sparked widespread speculation, with many fans believing that Heyman might have betrayed
Community-based
the
conflict
original tribal
resolution
chief in favor of
involves
former
local
WWE.
communities in the peace-building process. This approach empowers communities to take charge of their own peace and security. It includes training community leaders in conflict resolution techniques and encouraging participation of all community members in peace initiatives. Engaging communities in peace-building efforts fosters a sense of ownership and responsibility, making peace more sustainable in the long run. Role of technology and intelligence in combating banditry. Electronic surveillance systems are crucial in the fight against banditry. Drones and CCTV cameras can monitor vast areas, especially under-governed spaces, providing real-time data to security forces. This helps in tracking bandits' movements and planning timely interventions. Data-driven policing involves using data analytics to predict and prevent crime. By analyzing crime patterns and trends, law enforcement can allocate resources more effectively. This method also helps in identifying hotspots and understanding the modus operandi of bandits. Cybersecurity measures are essential to protect sensitive information from being accessed by bandits. Implementing strong cybersecurity protocols ensures that communication and data remain secure, preventing bandits from exploiting any vulnerabilities. Technology and intelligence are not just tools, but essential components in the strategy to eradicate banditry in Nigeria. They provide the means to monitor, predict, and prevent criminal activities, making communities safer. International cooperation and regional strategies. Cross-border collaboration. To effectively combat banditry and terrorism, cross-border collaboration is
Welcome to our channel, where we dive deep into the psychology of human behavior and communication. In today's video, we'll be revealing 3 powerful messages that they simply can't.
In the region must work together to share intelligence and coordinate their efforts. This can be achieved through joint military operations and regular meetings between security agencies. The Northwest Governors Forum and UNDP have been instrumental in fostering such cooperation. International aid and support. International aid plays a crucial role in providing the necessary resources for combating banditry. Financial assistance, training programs, and technological support from global partners can significantly
imagine a world where 30% of women above the age of 50 have to sell themselves.
Organizations like the United Nations and the European
Union. That's a reality in several countries globally. It's a stark and unsettling statistic, isn't it? Please watch to the
regional
end.
Security agreements are vital for maintaining long-term stability.
Like a bitter pill that leaves a lingering taste in your mouth, but it's a reality we cannot ignore. Much like the steady tick of a clock, it's constant, pervasive, and deeply disturbing.
attacks and
This isn't a tale spun from a dystopian
coordinated
novel.
border
It's a
patrols.
global crisis
By
that's
working
happening
together,
right now as we
countries
speak.
can create a
It's a
more
silent
secure
war that's
environment that
being fought
discourages
in the
criminal
shadows,
activity.
away from the prying eyes of the world. It's a fight for survival.
Impact of
A
banditry on
heartbreaking
rural
testament to the lengths these women are forced to go to just to make ends meet. Today, we delve into the top 5 countries where this unfortunate reality is most prevalent. But wait, before we begin, please subscribe to ensure that you never miss out on any
In states
of my
like
posts.
Zamfara,
I subscribe
Katsina,
below, and I will personally welcome you to our community.
Kaduna, banditry has resulted in
First on our
massive
list, we
displacement.
take you to Southeast
For
Asia,
instance, in
to the
Zamfara
Philippines.
state alone,
A nation of over
700,000
7,000
rural
islands
residents
and
have been
more than
displaced.
100 million
This
people, the Philippines is known
displacement
for its
creates a
breathtaking
humanitarian
landscapes, vibrant culture, and the warmth of its people. Yet beneath this inviting facade, there lies a disheartening truth. A significant number of mature women in the country find themselves compelled to sell their bodies for survival. The reasons
economic
are
disruption and food security. Banditry disrupts the local economy, particularly agriculture,
it's a
which is
narrative
the main
of poverty,
source of livelihood in rural
unemployment, and
areas.
societal pressures.
The attacks have led to a
Poverty,
significant
unfortunately, is a
increase in
relentless spectre
food
that
prices,
haunts the lives
contributing
of
to
many
nearly
Filipinos.
20% consumer
With
inflation.
around 1 in
in
5 people living below the poverty line, the struggle for basic survival
economic
is a daily reality. For older women, especially those without a family to rely on,
makes it
the options are limited and often grim. Unemployment, too, plays a critical role. The job market in the Philippines is tough, particularly for older women. Age discrimination is rampant and opportunities are scarce.
Has severe
Many of these women have
psychosocial
spent their lives
effects
as
on residents.
homemakers, lacking
People
the
live in
skills
fear,
and qualifications to compete in an already saturated
which
job
affect
market. Then
their
there are the
mental
societal
health and
pressures.
overall
In a
well-being.
culture that values
The
familial
trauma from these
responsibility,
attacks can
many
have
older women feel a profound
long-lasting
obligation to
impacts,
provide
making
for
it
their
difficult for
families, even
communities
at
to
great
recover and
personal
rebuild.
cost.
The impact of
Money they
banditry
earn,
on rural communities is
houses
profound,
often
affecting
goes
every
towards feeding their
aspect of
children,
life from economic
sending their
stability to
grandchildren
mental
to
health.
school, or
Addressing
paying
this
for a
issue
relative's
requires a
medical bill.
comprehensive approach
To
that
illuminate
includes
the gravity
security
of the
measures,
situation, let
economic
us consider
support,
the
and
story of
mental health
Maria,
services.
a 60-year-old woman from Manila. After losing her husband and unable to find work, Maria resorted to selling herself to keep her family afloat. It's a heart-wrenching tale.
In
But
conclusion,
Maria is far from alone. Her story echoes the silent cries of many older women across the country. The Philippines, a country of beauty yet plagued by a saddening reality. We now move to Africa, to the most populous country on the continent, Nigeria. Nigeria, a nation of over 200 million people, is a land rich in culture, natural resources, and diversity, yet beneath this vibrant facade, there's a silent crisis brewing that's as complex as it is heart-wrenching. In Nigeria, mature older women are often left with no choice but to sell themselves for survival. This is a grim reality, born out of a cocktail of economic instability, corruption, and deeply embedded cultural factors. Picture a scale. On one side, you have Nigeria's economic instability, a fluctuating oil-dependent economy, high unemployment rates, and rampant poverty. This side of the scale heavily weighs down, creating an environment where necessities become luxuries and survival becomes a daily battle. On the other side of the scale, there's corruption. Corruption that seeps through the cracks of society, eroding trust and fostering a system where the vulnerable become more susceptible to exploitation. And then there's the fulcrum of this scale, cultural factors. Deeply ingrained societal norms that often marginalize these women, making their plight invisible and their voices unheard. Yet, amid this grim reality, there's resilience. These women, despite their circumstances, continue to fight, to hope, and to dream of a better tomorrow. They are mothers, grandmothers, sisters, and friends who, in the face of adversity, continue to hold the fort, often sacrificing their own well-being for the sake of their loved ones. As we delve deeper into this silent crisis, it's crucial to remember that these are not mere statistics or faceless victims. They are individuals, each with their own story of struggle and survival. Nigeria, a land of diversity and culture, yet overshadowed by this silent crisis. Let's shed light on this issue, let's amplify their voices, and let's work together towards a future where no woman has to sell herself for survival. Next, we journey to Eastern Europe, to the heart of Ukraine. A country rich in culture and history, yet marred by political turmoil and economic instability, Ukraine is a land of contrasts. Here, the issue of mature women resorting to selling themselves to strangers for survival, a stark and unsettling reality. The roots of this problem run deep, intertwined with the country's prolonged political instability and the ravages of war. Imagine a ship in a stormy sea, battered by waves and wind, its crew struggling to keep it afloat. That's the situation many Ukrainian women find themselves in, navigating a tumultuous sea of challenges, trying to stay afloat and keep their families fed. Ukraine's economic hardships are another driving factor behind this desperate measure. The country's economy has been in a downward spiral for years. It's like a once proud tree now hollowed out by termites.
What is the main
The
cause
bark
of
may look
banditry?
sturdy from the outside, but
The
inside
main cause of
it's slowly being
banditry
eaten away. The same can be said of Ukraine's economy. On the surface, things may seem normal, but delve deeper and you'll find a crumbling infrastructure, sky-high unemployment rates, and rampant poverty. These economic woes are more than just numbers on a page. They're a harsh reality for many Ukrainian women who have to make
banditry due
difficult choices just to survive.
poverty,
It's like
unemployment,
being stuck in a desert with no water, driven to the point of drinking sand just to quench your thirst. The impacts of these desperate measures are far-reaching. They ripple through families, communities, and the entire country, leaving a trail of heartache, broken dreams, and lost potential. Like a stone thrown into a pond, the effects spread out, touching everything in their path. Yet, amidst the despair, there is a spirit of resilience. Ukrainian women are fighters, surviving against all odds, trying to build a better future for themselves and their children.
banditry affect
Their
rural
strength is a testament to the human spirit, a beacon of hope in the face of adversity. Ukraine, a country of resilience, yet forced to take desperate measures. Before we continue, can I beg a little favor? If you're liking what you're hearing, show us some love by pressing that like button. And hey, if you want to be in the loop for our fantastic upcoming videos, make sure to press subscribe and ring that bell so you're always in the know. Oh, and one more thing. Drop a quick I subscribe economic comments, and I'll make sure to offer you a warm welcome to our amazing family. All right, enough of that. Let's keep the conversation flowing. Our journey takes us next to South America, to the vibrant lands of Brazil.
It also
A country known for its samba, carnival, and football, but beneath the surface, a darker narrative unfolds. In the sprawling urban landscapes and tranquil rural areas alike,
effects on
mature women being driven to sell themselves for survival.
does technology
This is a story not told in the tourist brochures, nor in the postcards featuring the iconic Christ the Redeemer. It's a story of survival, desperation, and resilience. Economic inequality is a key driver of this hidden shame. Despite being one of the largest economies in the world, Brazil is also home to one of the widest wealth gaps. The rich live in opulence while the poor struggle for basic necessities. Many of these women, often single mothers or widows, see no other choice but to sell themselves to make ends meet. The high crime rate in Brazil only compounds the problem. In a society where violence and crime are often the norm, these women are more than just vulnerable. They are targets. Yet they persist, driven by the primal instinct of survival. Societal pressures also play a significant role. In a culture where youth and beauty are prized, older women often find themselves sidelined, their worth diminished. The social stigma associated with growing old and the lack of opportunities force them into this grim trap. And yet, despite these harsh realities, there is an undeniable spirit of resilience. These women, driven by sheer necessity, are not merely victims. They are survivors, navigating a harsh world with courage and determination. This is the hidden shame of Brazil, not in its vibrant culture or breathtaking landscapes, but in the exploitation of its most vulnerable. It's a stark reminder that behind the colourful facade, there are real people with real struggles and real stories of survival. Brazil, a country of rhythm and life, yet carrying a hidden shame. From the Philippines to Brazil, we've seen the harsh realities older women face in these countries. In the Philippines, the struggle is real and palpable, with mature women battling poverty and social stigma to survive. Nigeria, on the other hand, silently grapples with a crisis that's often swept under the rug. The desperation in Ukraine is chilling, as older women resort to unthinkable measures amid economic instability. And in Brazil, the hidden shame of a society that often overlooks its most vulnerable members is laid bare for us to see. This is a grave issue that needs urgent global intervention. It's not just about providing financial support, but also about changing societal norms and attitudes. We need to ensure that these women, who have given so much to their families and societies, are not left to fend for themselves in their twilight years. It's a harsh world out there, but together we can bring about change.
What
Let's
are
not
the
forget these women, for they
socioeconomic
too deserve
factors
dignity and respect.
contributing to banditry? Unemployment, poverty, and educational deficiencies are key socioeconomic factors that contribute to banditry.
Instead of working together for the common good, they engage in power struggles and personal vendetta.
Guys, I want you to imagine still dealing with urine dribble.
Facing a severe crisis with the rise of...
What if I told you that for just $100 a week, you could live like royalty in some of the most stunning and exotic places on Earth? Sounds impossible, right? Well, think again. In this video, we're about to unveil 20 countries where you can stretch that tiny budget into a dream lifestyle. Curious to know how far your dollars can take you? Stick around. You won't believe what's coming next. Number 20, Armenia, where history is rich and your wallet stays full. Imagine you step into a time machine and dial back a few centuries.
Poor governance and external influence.
So a few months ago, I shared a strategy of this channel.
The historical roots of banditry in Nigeria are tied to colonial legacies, economic disparities, and governance issues.
What you can immediately impact your election. It can wilt or it can win. So today I'm going to share with you a very simple nighttime snack that you can eat to boost your erection strength, calm your nerves so that you won't fumble and mess it all up, help you have quality sleep through the night, support higher testosterone levels and a healthy prostate, and honestly make you feel like having sex. And most importantly, it'll take you less than 60 seconds to make it. And if you stay to the end and are really serious about eating through your erection,
security measures including control and community policing are crucial to tackling banditry.
Hello everyone, welcome to Life ABC. Today, we will reveal shocking secrets about life in Cuba that few people know. Behind the beautiful beaches and vibrant culture are shocking stories, from the stressful 15th ceremony to the dark corners of the red light district. Let's explore the dark side and harsh realities that Cubans face every day. Ready? Let's get started. Cuba, the largest island in the Caribbean, is famous for its wild beauty, diverse culture, and rich history, with an area...
Historical context and root causes of banditry. The roots of banditry in Nigeria can be traced back to the colonial era. During this time, colonial legacies created divisions among ethnic groups, leading to long-standing conflicts. These divisions were often exploited, causing conflicts that have persisted into modern times.
With their strong figures shaped by the
Economic
demands of daily
disparities
life,
and the struggle for resource control have also fueled banditry. In regions where resources like land and water are scarce, competition can become violent. This is especially true in areas where cattle rustling has been a traditional practice, but has now turned more violent due to uncertainty about governance. Poor governance and corruption have exacerbated the problem. Weak security apparatus and undergoverned fertile ground for banditry to thrive. The lack of effective law enforcement and the prevalence of corruption make it difficult to combat these criminal activities effectively. The rise of banditry coincides with Nigeria's return to democratic governance in 1999, highlighting the need for robust institutions and political will to address the issue. In summary, the historical context and root causes of banditry in Nigeria are complex and multifaceted, involving colonial legacies, economic disparities, and governance deficits. Socio-economic factors contributing to banditry. Unemployment and poverty. High unemployment rates and widespread poverty are significant contributors to banditry in Nigeria. Many young people, unable to find jobs, turn to crime as a means of survival. The lack of economic opportunities makes them vulnerable to recruitment by bandit groups who often offer financial incentives. Educational deficiencies. The region affected by banditry also suffers from high levels of illiteracy. Poor educational infrastructure and limited access to quality education leave many young people without the skills needed for gainful employment. This educational gap further exacerbates the problem of unemployment and poverty, creating a cycle that fuels banditry. Impact of global economic trends. Global economic trends also play a role in exacerbating banditry. Economic downturns, fluctuating commodity prices, and international trade issues can lead to increased poverty and unemployment. These global factors trickle down to local communities, making it even harder for people to find stable employment and increasing the allure of banditry as an alternative means of income. The socio-economic environment in Nigeria, marked by high unemployment rates and poor educational opportunities, creates a fertile ground for banditry. Addressing these root causes is essential for any long-term solution to the problem. Security sector reforms and border control. Strengthening border surveillance. To tackle banditry, improving border security is crucial. The government has made efforts to enhance border security, recognizing its importance. This includes recruiting and training customs and immigration personnel to boost surveillance. Additionally, addressing corruption within border patrols is essential as it remains a significant issue. Enhancing law enforcement capabilities. Improving law enforcement is vital for gathering intelligence and tracking criminal groups. The federal government must prioritize law enforcement solutions to combat rising insecurity. This involves increasing the size, funding, training, and support for security forces. Community policing initiatives. Decentralized policing can create a community-focused system. This allows for local input on policing strategies, making them more effective. Community policing encourages collaboration between law enforcement and residents, fostering trust and cooperation. Addressing security challenges requires a multifaceted approach, combining border security, law enforcement, and community engagement. Peace building and community engagement. Negotiated settlements are essential for resolving conflicts between ethnic groups. Creating dialogue platforms where different groups can discuss their issues helps build trust and understanding. These platforms can be facilitated by neutral parties to ensure fairness and transparency. Civil society organizations, or CSOs, play a crucial role in peace building. They work with community members, faith leaders, and local officials on community-driven peace-building initiatives. These initiatives aim to establish dialogue, build trust, and promote peaceful coexistence. Community-based conflict resolution involves local communities in the peace-building process. This approach empowers communities to take charge of their own peace and security. It includes training community leaders in conflict resolution techniques and encouraging the participation of all community members in peace initiatives. Engaging communities in peace building efforts fosters a sense of ownership and responsibility, making peace more sustainable in the long run. Role of technology and intelligence in combating banditry. Electronic surveillance systems are crucial in the fight against banditry. Drones and CCTV cameras can monitor vast areas, especially under-governed spaces, providing real-time data to security forces. This helps in tracking bandits' movements and planning timely interventions. Data-driven policing involves using data analytics to predict and prevent crime. By analyzing crime patterns and trends, law enforcement can allocate resources more effectively. This method also helps in identifying hotspots and understanding the modus operandi of bandits. Cybersecurity measures are essential to protect sensitive information from being accessed by bandits. Implementing strong cybersecurity protocols ensures that communication and data remain secure, preventing bandits from exploiting any vulnerabilities. Technology and intelligence are not just tools, but essential components in the strategy to eradicate banditry in Nigeria. They provide the means to monitor, predict, and prevent criminal activities, making communities safer. International cooperation and regional strategy.
You know, first of all, this is it. Oh Lord, have mercy. Tinubu cannot even sit down and put things together in terms
collaboration to effectively combat banditry and terrorism cross-border collaboration is essential.
So it's not looking for anybody to talk anything good about it or whatever. But hey, so in terms of like, okay, now you
countries
within 24 hours of you doing a
region must work together to share intelligence.
To the check, shake, whatever. Please, why didn't you do this before first of all putting out the appointment? Why weren't all of this done before you
coordinate their efforts? This can be achieved through joint military operations and regular meetings
and stuff like that.
between security.
Let me just go ahead and read what it says. Daniel Bwala's introduction as the new presidential spokesman was swiftly followed by a statement from Bayo Onanuga, the president's special advisor on information.
The Northwest Governors Forum and UNDP have been instrumental in fostering such cooperation.
Spokesman in the current administration. Furthermore, Onanuga announced a change in Bwala's
international aid and support. International aid plays a crucial role in providing necessary resources for combating banditry.
And Bola Tinubu was known for his grandiose nature. Bola frequently condemned Tinubu and APC. However, in a surprising tweet, Bola later reversed his stance.
Financial assistance, training programs, and technological support
in drug-related activities
from
in the
global
US.
partners
This
can significantly enhance local capabilities. Organizations like the United Nations and the European Union,
a role that positioned him as part of Tinubu's extensive media team. Despite these efforts, Bwala's tenure as a spokesperson was remarkably short-lived. Within 24 hours, he was effectively demoted. This redefined role places Bwala outside the operational framework of the presidential leader, marking a distinct adjustment in his responsibilities within Bola Tinubu's media.
These agreements can include
the controversy. Bwala had been named special advisor on media and public communication on November 14, sparkling discussion about who would lead the president's information management team. Onanuga had been handling the role, issuing statements and speaking on behalf of the president since the departure of Ngelale Ajuli, the former special advisor on media and publicity.
By working together, countries can create a more secure environment that discourages criminal activities.
Special bill Monday, Bwala showed hesitation about leaving. According to the cable, it appeared he wanted to start using the office immediately. Incidentally, Onanuga
impact of banditry on rural communities.
With the president in Brazil for the G20 meeting, so it seems
in states like
Bwala wanted to take it over in The statement
Pristina
also,
and Kaduna, banditry has resulted in massive displacement.
Gualam looked into the first briefly to address state
For
house
instance, in Zamfara state alone, 700,000 rural residents have been displaced. This displacement creates a humanitarian crisis with people lacking basic necessities like food, shelter, and healthcare.
I told you that role was
Economic disruption and food security. Banditry disrupts the local economy, particularly agriculture, which is the main source of livelihood in rural areas. The attacks have led to a significant increase in food prices, contributing to nearly 20% consumer inflation in 2021. This economic disruption exacerbates poverty and makes it difficult for families to sustain themselves.
Let me continue.
The constant threat of bandit attacks
has
has severe psychosocial effects on residents. People live in fear, which affects their mental health and overall well-being. The trauma from these attacks can have long-lasting impacts, making it difficult for communities to recover and rebuild. The impact of banditry on rural communities is profound, affecting every aspect of life from economic stability to mental health. Addressing this issue requires a comprehensive approach that includes security measures, economic support, and mental health services.
President Bola Tinubu has
In conclusion,
designated the position of two recently appointed officials in the State House Media and Communications team to enhance efficiency within government communication machinery. Because the structure is as follows: it's as one day director to special advisor on public communication and national communication. It's not special advisor media and
are essential steps.
Mr. Daniel
Additionally,
Wada announced
promoting
that
peace building
special
and
advisor
development
media and public
initiatives can help
communication
bridge the gap
it's not
between
special
different
advisor
communities.
policy communication. Okay, so
By
the one that was
tackling
given
these
to
issues
Bola
holistically,
but I'm
Nigeria
not
can
giving
work
to
towards a safer and more prosperous future for all its citizens. What is the main cause of banditry in Nigeria? The main cause of banditry in Nigeria is economic hardship. Many people turn to banditry due to poverty, unemployment, and lack of opportunities. How does banditry affect rural communities in Nigeria? Banditry causes displacement, economic disruption, and food insecurity in rural communities. It also has severe psychosocial effects on residents. What role does technology play in combating banditry? Technology helps in fighting banditry through electronic surveillance systems, data-driven policing, and cybersecurity measures. How can community engagement help in peace building? Community engagement can help in peace building by fostering negotiated settlements between ethnic groups and promoting community-based conflict resolution. Why is international cooperation important in addressing banditry in Nigeria? International cooperation is crucial for cross-border collaboration, securing international aid and forming regional security agreements to combat banditry effectively. What are the socio-economic factors contributing to banditry? Unemployment, poverty, and educational deficiencies are key socio-economic factors that contribute to banditry.
We're losing out on all of this democracy thing. And
Nigeria is facing a severe crisis with the rise of banditry and terrorism, especially in its northwest region.
I just watch these people coming and continue to just do all sorts of nonsense.
These issues have deep historical roots and are driven by
some people are going to be alive in Nigeria in the next 50 years, in the next 60 years.
factors, poor governance, and external
next 50 years and 60 years, and you'll be still, and you understand, you will still be in that Nigeria. How are you going to cope? Remember, people are living long.
The historical roots of banditry in Nigeria are tied to
Dubai, with its skyscrapers and extravagant shopping malls, is the picture of a city that defies the imagination. Everything there is grandiose, luxurious, and meticulously designed to impress the world.
Une allumette qui peut être utilisée indéfiniment.
Factors like unemployment, lack of education, and global economic trends fuel banditry. Effective security measures and community policing are crucial to tackling banditry.
This glamorous city, which many see as the capital of the future, is a side that few know about. It is a side where gold crumbles into dust, and glamour gives way to a harsh and suffocating reality. That place is called Songpur.
Historical context
For most
and root
visitors,
causes
it's
of
just an
banditry.
unknown name, spot off the tourist map.
The roots
But
of
for
banditry in
thousands of
Nigeria can be
migrant
traced back to the
workers,
colonial
Songpur's
era.
very
During
definition
this time,
of survival.
colonial
Today,
legacies
Belo Mundo will
created
take you to
divisions
see
among
this
ethnic
visceral
groups, leading
contrast
to
between
long-standing
two
tensions.
lives.
These
One
divisions
where
were often
luxury shines
exploited,
brightly,
causing
and another
conflicts
where
that
the
have
struggle for
persisted
the
into
basics
modern
is a
times.
constant. Dubai is located on the
Economic
southeast
disparities and the
coast of
struggle
the
for
Persian
resource
Gulf,
control
right
have
in the
also
heart of the
fueled
Arabian
banditry.
Desert.
In
A
regions
strategic
where
position
resources
that
like
easily
land
connects
and
it to
water
the
are
Middle
scarce,
East,
competition can
Europe,
become
Asia,
violent.
and Africa.
This is
It
especially
is
true
part
in
of the
areas where
United
cattle
Arab
rustling has been a
Emirates,
traditional practice
federation
but
of
has now
7
turned
emirates,
more violent
and
due to
Dubai is just
uncertainty
one
about
of them.
governance.
That surprises a lot of people, doesn't it? In addition to
Poor
Dubai,
governance and
United
corruption have
Arab
exacerbated
Emirates
the problem.
includes Abu Dhabi,
Weak security apparatus and undergoverned
Ras Al
spaces
Khaimah,
provide fertile
Sharjah,
ground for banditry to
Al Kuwait,
thrive. The
and
lack of
Ajman.
effective law
And
enforcement
although
and the
Dubai
prevalence
is
of
famous,
corruption
the country's
make it difficult to
capital is the
combat
city
these
of
criminal
Abu Dhabi,
activities
which
effectively.
bears the
The
same name
rise
as
of
the emperor.
banditry coincides
Dubai is an impressive city, built in one of the most extreme climates on the planet.
with Nigeria's
Surrounded
return to
by
democratic
vast sand
governance
dunes
in
and bathed by the
1999,
Persian Gulf,
highlighting the need for
stands
robust
out towards
institutions and
contrast.
political will
On the one
to
hand,
address the issue.
glitter of
In summary, the
skyscrapers
historical
and vibrant
context and
life.
root causes
On the other, the endless stretches
of
of desert
banditry in
sand.
Nigeria are
Although
complex
it
and
all looks like
multifaceted,
sand and
involving
sun,
colonial
Dubai
legacies,
surprises
economic
with its
disparities,
diversity of
and governance
landscapes.
deficits.
The city, which today is synonymous with wealth and modernity,
Socioeconomic factors
began
contributing
quite
to
differently.
banditry.
At the beginning of the 20th century, Dubai was a simple fishing
Unemployment
village.
and poverty.
The local
High
port made the
unemployment
region
rates and
grow,
widespread poverty
boosting
are
maritime
significant
trade and
contributors to
pearl
banditry in
cultivation,
Nigeria.
and turned
Many
Dubai
young
into
people
an
unable
important
to find
trading
jobs
center
turn to
in the
crime
Arab
as a
world.
means of survival.
But the real
The lack of economic
began in
opportunities makes them
1966,
vulnerable to
the
recruitment by
discovery
bandit
of
groups who
oil in
often
the
offer
Fateh
financial
field,
incentives.
about 120 kilometers east of the city.
Education
The wealth brought by oil was
Educational
just the beginning.
deficiencies. The region
Dubai
affected
didn't
by
sit back.
banditry also suffers from
Over
high
time,
levels of
the city
illiteracy,
diversified its
poor
economy,
educational
which
infrastructure,
today includes
and
commerce,
limited access to
and
quality education
services,
leave many young people
tourism,
without the
and
skills
much
needed
more.
for gainful employment.
The result of all
This
this effort
educational
is a
gap
city that no
further
longer
exacerbates
depends
the problem
exclusively
of
on oil
unemployment
and that
poverty,
reinvents
creating a
itself
cycle
every
that
day.
fuels banditry.
However, despite spending tons of money on
Impact of
transforming
global
the
economic
city,
trends.
these investments
Global
have been
economic
directed
trends also
towards
play a
visual
role in
changes,
exacerbating
while
banditry.
structural issues have
Economic
been left
downturns,
aside.
fluctuating
In
commodity
fact,
prices,
a clear
and
example
international
of this
trade
that has
issues can
become
lead to
world
increased
famous
poverty and
is the
unemployment.
queue of
These
pit
global
trucks
factors
used to
trickle down to
remove the
local
sewage
communities,
produced by
making
the
it even
city.
harder for people to
Although
find
the images
stable
are old
employment and
and much of
increasing
the
the allure
problem
of
has already
banditry
been
as an
solved,
alternative
they
means of
serve to
income.
show that the
The
government preferred to
socio-economic
build the big
environment in
buildings first,
Nigeria,
and only
marked by
then
high
think about
unemployment
building the
rates and poor
necessary
educational
infrastructure for them. Today, even if less
opportunities
frequently,
creates a fertile
Dubai still
ground for
resorts to
banditry.
the tanker system,
Addressing these
as
root
the city's
causes is
sewage
essential for
system
any
is not
long-term
due to be
solution to the
completed
problem.
till 2025. With its
Security
growth,
sector reforms
Dubai
and
has
border
become a
control.
constant fixture in the world's top rankings. But many areas
Strengthening
that were
border
once
surveillance.
fertile
To
were
tackle
used for the
banditry,
construction
improving
of
border
buildings and
security is
infrastructure.
crucial. The government has
Guess
made
what?
efforts to enhance
Reduction
border
in
security,
agricultural
recognizing
land is
its
also being accelerated by desertification.
importance.
Just
This includes
16
recruiting and
years
training
between
customs and
2002
immigration
and
personnel to boost
2018,
surveillance.
Dubai
Additionally,
lost
addressing
56%
corruption within
of its arable land.
border patrols is
and
essential
was
as it
more than
remains a
half.
significant issue.
This reduction was happening at the same time as the demand for food
Enhancing law
and
enforcement
natural
capabilities.
resources, such as
Improving law
water,
enforcement is
was
vital for
increasing.
gathering intelligence
It's
and
worth
tracking
remembering
criminal
that
groups.
between
The federal government
2004
must
and
prioritize law
2019,
enforcement
the
solutions
city tripled tripled its population.
Combat
1
rising
million to the
insecurity.
current 3
This
million
involves
and
increasing the size,
300,000
funding,
inhabitants.
training, and support for security
Short,
forces.
a series of misguided and poorly planned decisions.
Community policing
combined
initiatives. Decentralized policing can create a
food
community-focused
production, and the
system.
country began
This
to
allows
need
for local
imports
input
to
on
supply the
policing strategies,
population
making them
in
more
an attempt to
effective.
be as self-sufficient
Community
as
policing
possible.
encourages
What
collaboration
about some
between law
curious
enforcement and
figures?
residents,
As
fostering
we
trust
just
and
mentioned,
cooperation.
Dubai currently has a
Addressing
population
security
of over
challenges
3
requires a
million inhabitants.
multifaceted approach
And
combining
believe it or not,
border security,
almost
law
90%
enforcement,
of them
and
are
community
poor.
engagement.
It's a city of mixed cultures, where Islam
Peace
is
building and
the dominant
community
religion,
engagement.
and luxury is the calling card. Today,
Negotiated settlements are essential for resolving conflicts between ethnic groups. Creating dialogue platforms where different groups can discuss their issues helps build trust and understanding. These platforms can be facilitated by neutral parties to ensure fairness and transparency. Civil society organizations, or CSOs, play a crucial role in peace building. They work with community members, faith leaders, and local officials on community-driven peace-building initiatives. These initiatives aim to establish dialogue, build trust, and promote peaceful coexistence. Community-based conflict resolution involves local communities in the peace-building process. This approach empowers communities to take charge of their own peace and security. It includes training community leaders in conflict resolution techniques and encouraging the participation of all community members in peace initiatives. Engaging communities in peace-building efforts fosters a sense of ownership and responsibility, making peace more
To the
sustainable.
artificial palm-shaped islands, the city is a showcase of modernity and opulence. Tourism is a
Role of
fundamental
technology and
economic pillar,
intelligence in
and each
combating
new building
banditry.
seems to shout out, "Welcome to the future."
Electronic
Now that we have
surveillance
the
systems are
geographical
crucial in the
and
fight against
cultural
banditry.
context,
Drones
let's get
and
into what
CCTV
really
cameras
matters.
can monitor vast
Dubai you
areas,
don't see
especially
in the tourist
undergoverned
guides.
spaces,
Did you
providing
know that
real-time
expression
data to
from
security
luxury to
forces.
trash?
This helps
It
in
makes
tracking
total
bandits'
sense here.
movements and planning
Imagine
timely
crossing an
interventions.
invisible line. On one side are Dubai's five-star hotels,
Data-driven
artificial
policing
beaches, and
involves using
luxurious
data
restaurants.
analytics to
Tourists
predict
bask under
and
the sun.
prevent
On the other, an area
by
that seems
analyzing
to
crime
exist in a
patterns and
universe
trends.
where
Law
glamour gives
enforcement
way to the daily
can
struggle for survival. It's called
allocate resources
accommodation that looks more like a prison. This is where immigrants
more effectively. This
Those
method
who
also
build the
helps in
Dubai of their
identifying
dreams,
hotspots and
but who inhabit a reality far
understanding
removed
the
from
modus
luxury
operandi
and
of bandits.
ostentation. Instead of the glitter of social media,
Cybersecurity measures are
is a
essential
place
to
of
protect
cramped
sensitive
shacks
information from
where
being
everything is
accessed by
shared.
bandits. Implementing
From the
strong
rooms to the
cybersecurity
weight of an
protocols
exhausting
ensures that
routine.
communication and data
After all,
remain secure,
for every crime, someone
preventing
has to
bandits
pay
from
the price,
exploiting any
right?
vulnerabilities.
Literally,
Technology and
luxury
intelligence are not just
versus
tools, but
trash.
essential
To
components
understand how this
in the
vision
strategy
became
to
so
eradicate
extreme,
banditry in
we need to
Nigeria.
go back in
They
time
provide
a
the
little.
means to monitor,
Back in the
predict,
1960s,
and
Dubai
prevent
was
criminal
just a
activity,
British
making
protectorate, a
communities safer.
fishing and trading village. It was a place where camel herders crossed the desert,
International
and life
cooperation
was
and regional
modest.
strategies.
Until suddenly everything changed. Oil was discovered,
Cross-border collaboration.
transforming this
To
village
effectively
into one of
combat
the
banditry
richest
and
regions
terrorism,
on the
cross-border
planet.
collaboration is
The town
essential.
was turned upside
Countries in the
down,
region
and
must work
the
together to share
modern gold
intelligence
rush
and
began to attract people from all over
coordinate
the
their
world
efforts.
in search
This
of
can be achieved
opportunities.
through joint military operations and regular meetings between security agencies. The Northwest Governors
Today,
Forum
around
and UNDP have been instrumental in fostering such
is made up of foreigners.
cooperation.
They come from all over. South Asia, the Middle East,
International
Europe, and
aid
even
and
America.
support.
This
International
melting pot of culture seems to make the city a
aid plays a
unique
crucial
place
role in
where there is
providing the
room for
necessary
everyone,
resources for
right?
combating
And in
banditry.
a way, there really is room for
Financial
everyone.
assistance,
But of
training
course,
programs,
some
and
stay at the top,
technological support
while
from
others
global
barely
partners
manage
can
to stay at the
significantly
bottom. The
enhance
super poor,
local
the
capabilities. Things like the United Nations and the European
to
Union
the luxury of the center.
have been
There, the
active in
houses are
offering such
makeshift
support.
shacks, unfinished without doors or windows, where the heat is almost unbearable. In a
Regional
city where
security agreements
temperatures
are
reach
vital
50
for maintaining
degrees,
long-term
ventilation is
stability.
minimal.
These agreements can include
Citizens are
mutual
a distant privilege.
defense pacts,
Then,
shared intelligence
why do these
frameworks,
people
and
accept
coordinated border
living in
patrols.
these conditions?
By working together,
The answer
countries
is
can create a
far
more
more
secure
complex
environment
than
that
you might
discourages
think.
criminal activity.
Well, it's worth remembering that People who leave their respective countries are in
Impact of
search of
banditry
better
on rural
conditions.
communities.
So many of these workers hope that with the money they receive,
In states like
able to
Zamfara,
support their
Castina, and
families
Kaduna,
and
banditry has
provide
resulted
better
in
living
massive
conditions for their families back home.
displacement. For instance, in Zamfara
Right.
state alone,
Well,
700,000 rural
unfortunately,
residents have been
there is a
displaced.
kind of mafia
This
here.
displacement creates a humanitarian crisis with people lacking basic necessities like food, shelter, and healthcare. Economic disruption and food security. Banditry disrupts the local economy, particularly agriculture, which is the main source of livelihood in rural areas. The attacks have led to a significant increase in food prices, contributing to
Du coup, pour aller mieux, t'as pris des antibiotiques. Et ça a
20%
pas marché. C'est normal, les antibiotiques, ça n'a aucun effet.
in 2021.
There are many companies that go to these countries, such
This
as
economic
India,
disruption
Pakistan,
exacerbates poverty
Bangladesh, and the
and
Philippines.
makes it difficult for
To
families to
hire workers,
sustain themselves.
bring them here under the promise that they will have housing, food, transportation, everything they need, even
The
medical
constant threat
insurance.
of banditry
But the reality is quite different. When these workers land in Dubai, they realize that the promises are just empty words. The much vaunted improvement in their lives turns
attacks
into
has
something
severe
more
psychosocial
akin
effects
to
on
slavery,
residents. People live in
disguised as a
fear,
job. You might be wondering, why don't they just leave? Most of them lose their right
mental health
the
and
moment they
overall
step foot
well-being.
in the United
The trauma
Arab
from
Emirates.
these attacks can have
As soon as they
long-lasting
arrive, their
impacts,
employers
making
confiscate their passports and send them straight to Sonapur, where they are virtually isolated. And to make matters worse, local
it difficult for
legislation is not on
communities to
the
recover
side
and
of
rebuild.
immigrants.
The impact of banditry on
Dubai
rural
may have one of the lowest unemployment rates in the
communities is
world,
profound,
around
affecting every aspect of life from
0.05%.
economic stability to
This
mental health.
hides a complicated
Addressing this issue requires a
Those
comprehensive
who lose their jobs have just 30 days to find a new occupation, or they will be
approach
deported.
that includes
In other
security
words, for
measures,
many,
economic
taking any
support,
job that
and
comes
mental health
along is the
services.
only way to keep going. And so these workers end up
In
trapped
conclusion,
in a cycle
eradicating
where they live
banditry
with
and
countless
terrorism
restrictions, saving the bare minimum to send some money to their families when they can. Most live in
in
extreme
Nigeria
need,
requires a
struggling
multifaceted
even to
approach.
cover basic
The root
expenses.
causes, such as poverty,
Want an
unemployment, and
example?
lack of education,
The salary of a cleaner in Dubai is
must
around
be addressed
800
to
dirhams
prevent
a month,
individuals from
approximately
turning to crime.
$200. Of this amount, he sends more than half to his family and uses the rest to support himself. It may seem like an acceptable salary when compared to the minimum
The
in
security
some
sector,
countries.
improving border controls and
Yes,
fostering
the cost of
community-based
living in
policing
Dubai
are essential
is
steps.
very high. To give you an
Additionally,
idea, the
promoting
rent for a small studio
peace-building development
apartment
initiatives
as
can
one
help
piece
bridge
of
the gaps between different
varies
communities.
between 1,500 and 4,000 dirhams. Can you imagine trying to live on such a tight salary in a place where everything
By
costs
tackling
so
these
much?
issues holistically, Nigeria
Solution
can work towards
to
a safer and more
On average, each
future for all.
worker shares a room with 5 other people in order to save as much as possible and guarantee the basics:
What is the main cause of banditry
food, clothing,
in
and
Nigeria?
transportation.
The main cause of
These
banditry in
workers'
Nigeria
days
is
are long
economic
and
hardship.
exhausting.
Many people
Often
turn to
the men who
banditry
work
due
in
to poverty,
Sonapur
unemployment,
don't even
and
have the
lack of
minimum
opportunity.
conditions to
How does
maintain
banditry
their
affect
hygiene.
rural
The accommodation for
communities
migrant
in
workers in
Nigeria?
Dubai, known as
Banditry
work camps
causes
or labor
displacement,
camps,
economic
often has
disruption, and food
precarious
insecurity
conditions.
in rural
In
communities.
these places,
It
it is
also has
common for
severe
several workers
psychosocial
to
effects
share
on
small
residents.
rooms with
What
capacity
role
for
does
up to 10
technology
or
play in
15
combating
people
banditry?
in spaces of around
Technology
10
helps in
square
fighting
meters.
banditry through electronic
Sanitary
surveillance
facilities
systems,
are
data-driven
usually
policing,
communal.
and
Toilets and
cybersecurity
showers
measures.
shared by a
How
large number of residents,
can
often
community
in an
engagement help in
inadequate
peace
state of
building?
repair.
Community
There
engagement
is
can
almost
help
no
in peace
shower.
building by
The
fostering
solution for
negotiated
many is
settlements
to use a
between
bucket.
ethnic groups and
The
promoting
kitchen is
community-based
communal,
conflict
visibly
resolution.
dirty and
Why is
totally out of line
international
with the quality
cooperation
standards of
important
other
in addressing
countries?
banditry in
Several
Nigeria?
workers crowded into spaces
International
that are
cooperation
normally
is
built
crucial
by
for cross-border
themselves.
collaboration,
The
securing
most
international
frightening
aid,
thing is
and
that
forming
even the
regional
pipes and
security
ventilation
agreements to
spaces
combat
were built by the
banditry.
workers. Without supervision